Hey, hello everyone, Bacha Party. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic. That is, we're going to do a concept map. तो हम लोग क्या करेंगे आज concept map के बारे में बात करेंगे. So when I'm talking about the concept map, it's a very easy way to learn the things, right? तो एक chapter नाम है that is respiration and photosynthesis class 7. Okay, it's for ICSE, it's for CBSE. Both can use this. So what we are going to talk about, हम क्या बात करने वाले हैं आज concept map के बारे में, जहाँ in detail as well as in a summary type we're going to talk about. So here we start. So when you talk about the photosynthesis, the first point comes in your mind is what? The photosynthesis is a process in which sunlight is going to fall on what? Definitely on the leaf. Leaf has a chlorophyll. Yes, that's going to convert that solar energy into the chemical energy. So photosynthesis is a process in which the plant uses the sunlight and chlorophyll A to convert the chemical energy into the what's that exactly? Solar energy into the chemical energy. Don't get confused. The solar energy gets converted to the chemical energy, that is food. And who is responsible for that? Obviously the sun. The solar energy, the major source of energy is sun, that is responsible for it. What are the parts of the plants required for it? Leaf. Yes, exactly. Exchange of gases need a stomata. Exactly correct. Chlorophyll, that is a green pigment. Exactly correct. And one more thing, obviously the carbon dioxide taken it by the leaves and the water taken up by the root. So अभी हम लोग वो बात करेंगे. Okay, so let's get started with a great enthusiasm. So when you talk about the photosynthesis, we just talk about, right? So here we go. When you talk about the photosynthesis, the first point of photosynthesis, right? So photosynthesis is process of making food. By whom? Plants. Yes. That's why plants are called autotrophs, because खुद का खाना खुद बना सकते हैं वो plant, right? So photosynthesis is what? Process of making own food. Then as we move forward, we are going to talk about substance use. Just हमने discuss किया कौन से substance use है? Yes, water, then carbon dioxide, and then the minerals. The water, the root is responsible for absorbing the water, right? Root hairs on the root, small absorption of the water droplets can be takes place. Yet xylem, phloem. Okay, now let's focus on this. Water is get absorbed by the root. Second, carbon dioxide. Who is responsible for absorbing carbon dioxide from the environment, from the atmosphere? Leaf. Yes, the leaf is going to absorb the carbon dioxide. Yes, and the minerals. From where you get the minerals? That's the point. Yes, obviously minerals get from obviously the water. The soil is a major source of mineral, right? The water inside the soil get absorbed by the root. While absorbing the water, obviously minerals which is absorbed inside the water, I mean जो डिजोल्व होंगे वहीं आ जाएंगे ऊपर, राइट? सो दैट्स द थिंग. सो एज वी मूव फर्दर वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट द एसेंशियल रिक्वायरमेंट. फोटोसिंथेसिस के लिए एसेंशियल रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है बच्चों? सनलाइट. यस, ऑब्वियसली सनलाइट, देन क्लोरोफिल, एंड व्हाट आर गोइंग टू हैपन इन द फोटोसिंथेसिस. फोटोसिंथेसिस के एंड में प्रोडक्ट्स क्या बनते हैं? ऑब्वियसली कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स, ऑक्सीजन, एंड yes. So let's talk about the carbohydrates. What is carbohydrate? Glucose, CO2, and O2. CO2, carbon dioxide. Okay. Then the water, which is absorbed, combined to form your carbohydrate. That is sugar, right? Yes. And the byproduct is oxygen. We can take breathe in because of the plant we are living in the world, right? Because the byproduct of photosynthesis is oxygen, and every green plant, or we can say every plant, is responsible for the giving out the oxygen, and that's why we are living. So plants are autotrophs, that we have learned. What is the byproduct of the photosynthesis? Oxygen. Exactly correct. Now utilized by the all living organisms for survival is oxygen. So oxygen is very necessary, right? Yes. Now as we move further, there is some is light reaction. What is light reaction? Obviously in presence of light. Now there is a question. कुछ तो क्वेश्चन है मेरे दिमाग में. क्या प्लांट सिर्फ दिन में खाना बनाते हैं क्या? दे आर मेकिंग देयर फूड कंटिन्यूअसली. सो दिन में जो बनाएंगे इन ड्यूरिंग द sunlight, presence of the sunlight, we can say in exact manner, the light reaction occurs. And during the reaction, this reaction, which light reaction, sunlight is fixed by the chlorophyll molecule and ATP. So ATM machine pata hai, what is ATP? Adeno triphosphate. Adeno triphosphate. जैसे पैसा करेंसी है, like in India, what is पैसे की करेंसी? Rupees. In USA, dollar. वैसे ही एनर्जी की करेंसी in plants, or we can say energy in body, living organisms, is ATP. Adenosine triphosphate. It's a ATP. So in light reaction, the ATP is generated with the help of light. As we move further, there is a dark reaction. Dark reaction कब होगा? During the night, right? So CO2 is reduced to carbon. So whatever the carbon dioxide is there, it's going to reduce into the carbon. So in daytime, chlorophyll is very active. In during night time, that is during the dark reaction, who is responsible? Carbon dioxide is get reduced into this. Okay, so that much we have absorbed right now. Let's focus on autotrophic. Autotrophic, those organisms are making their own food, are responsible. Obviously, they are termed as autotroph. They are responsible for what? Making their own food. How? Because of presence of the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll किस में होता है? Only in plants. So plants, the green plants are called as the autotrophs. Yes or no? That we have just seen. All green plants come under this category. Why I'm just talking about the green plants? Green plants, what is the difference? Green plants, those who are chlorophyll. Some plants are not a green in color, but they have some amount of the chlorophyll. That's why we are majorly focused on the green color part, the green pigment, which is responsible for conversion of solar energy into the light energy. Which energy? Chemical energy. That's great, my dear students. You have noticed that. Now, organisms make their own food are called autotrophs. Now, there are heterotrophs also. Plants make their own food. We are eating up the plant. So, we are heterotroph. We are depend on the plant. Exactly correct. So, fungi comes under this category. Fungi. Is it fungi, sir? No, it's fungi. So, it comes under this category where it's where we consider as a heterotrophs. They are not making their own food because they are lack of chlorophyll pigment. Green pigment नहीं होता उनमें. So they have to depend on the plants. Exactly correct. Now, organisms often food from the other organisms. They are called heterotrophs. Just we have discussed. Animals and the non-green plants are come under this category. हम भी आते हैं यहाँ पे because we are depend on the plants. Sir, हम तो some are vegetarian, non-vegetarian, तो हम plants नहीं खाते, हम लोग तो non-veg खाते. एनिमल्स जो हम खाते हैं वो क्या खाते हैं? चिकन इट्स व्हाट? प्लांट्स खाते हैं ना. तो अल्टीमेटली वी आर डिपेंड ऑन दी प्लांट. दैट्स ग्रेट. नाउ रेस्पिरेशन. टेक अ ब्रीथ. Respiration. Now, sir, there is a question. When you talk about the respiration, we just have example of breathing. But breathing is a part of respiration. Respiration is not a whole process of just taking in and taking out the air. No. When you talk about the respiration is nothing but, in case of animals, when you talk about the respiration, oxygen is required because oxygen is responsible for combustion of the things, right? And when there is a combustion, there is a formation of energy. So respiration is all over the process inside the single cell or inside the each and cell where oxygen goes there. Chemically, there is a combustion occurs and the energy is released. Which energy? ATP, adeno triphosphate. So respiration is a process in which organism receives the energy, and the breathing is just a part of respiration. So that point is very clear to all. Respiration is two types. Aerobic. When you talk about the aerobic, in presence of oxygen, there are many organisms who require the oxygen. They are considered as a aerobic. Yeah, they are considered as a category as aerobic respiration follower, right? And there is anaerobic. Those organisms living beneath the ground, soil के नीचे रहेंगे, उसको थोड़ी ऑक्सीजन मिलने वाला. No, so they are called anaerobes, and anaerobes are without oxygen, in absence of oxygen. Now breathing, as I mentioned, breathing is a part of respiration. It's not a whole process of respiration. Students mostly get confused, so I clear this down. So my dear students, you know that now breathing is a part of respiration. Very good. Inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation, exhalation. When you take air inside, lungs are responsible for increase in size when you take air inside. Then lungs के नीचे जो रहेगा blood vessel going to what, that's alveoli, right? We are not going to detail in that right now, just layman we're going to talk about, because we are talking about the outline of this chapter. So the oxygen which is inside the air is get dissolved into the blood is now considered as oxygen blood, and that goes to the every part. That's how the oxygen is supplied to each and every cell. This is clear? Yes. So inhalation, exhalation, right? Now respiration in plants. Respiration in plants, how it goes? Let's see. Yes, leaves are responsible for respiration. Exchange of gases, भाई CO2 ले रहा है, oxygen दे रहा है. So when you talk about that, the carbon dioxide is getting inside, oxygen is getting outside. So byproduct of photosynthesis, just we have learned, right? Sir, the exchange of gases, who is responsible? Stomata. Yes, the stomata is responsible for exchange of gases. Now, one more thing, roots. How the roots are responsible for respiration? We know the function of root is absorbing the water. Root hair. As we mentioned, minerals, right? The water inside the minerals, I mean, like in water, there is the minerals that get absorbed. But the root hair is a very minute structure deep inside the soil, and it's responsible for absorption of water. So how we do the respiration? Yes, it's responsible in a plant respiration in a diffusion. What is a diffusion? Now, if I'm going to add a scent on myself, right? So this is a perfume. If I'm going to do like this, what's going to happen if I'm taking a smell of this? बहुत अच्छा smell आ रहा है. But if I move to the room का that part, वहाँ पे भी smell आएगा. View, because gas has a diffusion. Diffuse हो गया, सब जगह फैल हो गया. In similar way, we can say that there is a diffusion occurs. So gases diffuse like this. I just give the example, right? Now, in case of plants, the diffusion can take place like this only. The molecules are diffused inside the root because of things, right? We're going to talk about in detail, but right now, just because of example, have you understood? Yes. Now, root hair is responsible for the diffusion, and the last stem. Stem green color के होते हैं, तो उनमें chlorophyll भी होगा. Yes. And one more structural present is the stomata. So on stem there is a stomata also present. So we have covered the photosynthesis and the respiration part like this. So we talk about what is photosynthesis, we talk about respiration, we talk about all the factors responsible